I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Sparky.
And Salty and Chip.
Okay, guys, we got a special video for you. There's been a running discussion between ourselves and the big homie.
The underground metal elitist.
Yes. He shot a video about us, and
Yep.
he's
It was a letter of contempt for Vin and Sori, which is not up anymore, but you'll see when our conversation progresses.
He's a passionate dude. And as I said in the little Instagram video that I shot, that when people say things about you, you have options, right? You can be angry, you can be upset, you can be hurt, you can marshal your troops, you can ignore them. There's a lot of things that you can do. We decided that, you know, the way of Jesus is to engage the person, and and I think what follows is a good example. We really wanted to talk to this guy. Because of where we are in our social climate.
Definitely.
And how quickly people get triggered.
Definitely.
I mean, he said some things about you that, you know, I mean, from where I'm from, you know, would be an invitation.
Those are fighting words.
Invitation for physical confrontation, right?
For sure.
And so I had to kind of like, you know, circumvent that and just stay to the, you know, state of what we're trying to accomplish in the village here, right? So, anyway, seriously, we've got a toxic social environment, and I felt like, you know, we could use his influence and our influence to be able to actually accomplish something positive and turn into something very positive. So that's what you're going to see in what follows.
This is kind of what we were hoping was going to happen with the whole Roseanne thing when her words came out. That there would have been a discussion rather than just canceling the show and pushing things forward. Like, have some, you know, stuff was said publicly, it came out in the public. Well, let's have a conversation about it. But people are so quick to be like, shh, don't say anything. Oh, we can't say this, we can't say that. Instead of actually having a conversation and a dialogue. And you'll see how this conversation progresses. There's going to be two parts to this. One is going to be this part that is the actual conversation, and then part two is going to be the reaction. I don't think there's a part three, but and also we got online with him and he started talking immediately before we hit record. So we gave you everything that we had, you know, from the start of the recorded conversation.
Yeah, and there wasn't really much prior to that.
Right.
So
Probably like a sentence or two. So okay, here you go.
What I really hope is that we could take this and use this as inspiration the next time somebody says something reckless about you, the next time you feel like you're in the mood to say something reckless about somebody else. It's just a way for all of us to say, you know what, there's a different path that we can take. And our country is in a the world is in a pretty crazy situation, and we're silly and naive enough to think that all of us together can make a difference in how things go, regardless of what the politicians do. So, much love to you guys. Much love to the big homie Chris. Go to his Underground Metal Elitist, his page. Just show him some love, right? Like, subscribe, all that good jazz.
Stupid videos get popular. I don't agree with that. I think that YouTube should be a place where people go to learn something. They go to become enlightened. There's a lot of reasons that I don't like how really dumb content gets popular. It just, because I work so damn hard on my channel. I really do. I put out tons of different content of varying topics, from sports to metal to depression and anxiety recovery to motivation and success videos, because I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. And I like to think that, you know, I create stuff that people like. Now, I'm also not afraid to challenge people. And that's why I challenged the two of you, because metal to me is something that is so close to my soul that when I see big core bands like all this deathcore and metalcore and all these fan bases, I don't think there's as much authenticity to it as there used to be. I don't think there's as much heart and soul put into music as there used to be. And when I see you guys doing reaction videos to black metal, I'm like, well, if you've got this Christian fundamentalist belief system, how are you going to understand anything from a perspective that is in complete opposition to that? And that was the main point of what I was talking about in that stream.
Is that the reason you called my wife a bitch?
No, I was just feeling very, I guess I was feeling very emotional, because I just get like that sometimes. I get really upset about stuff. So I mean, I'm sorry. I did say I was sorry in the other stream too. So
I forgive you.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I forgive you too. I mean,
That was out of line. That was out of line.
What should I call you? Because you
Chris.
Chris. Okay. So Chris, I don't you made a lot of assumptions about both of our lives. I was in the middle of watching your second video.
Okay.
You made a lot of, I guess the confusing thing for me is that you're clearly a very intelligent person, but you put yourself in a situation multiple times in both of your videos where you could, if the information that you put out was in the hands of a more petty person, you could be made to look like a real foolish person. What I mean by that is, like, you assume things about both of our lives that are like completely untrue. How do you know what we've been through or not been through?
I don't.
But you made the statement that people like us who have never been through the angst, there's a certain level of an angst meter, it seems, in your mind that qualifies a person to be able to listen to metal.
What I think is there's a life experience that goes with it, yes, because in order to truly understand an artist and what they're trying to get across, I think you have to experience something at least similar to that. Or how are you going to be able to understand why they're angry or why their subject matter is potentially offensive, or
how do you know that I haven't been through that?
I don't, man. I don't.
But
like I said, it was.
But you made assumptions about the both of us, right?
I did. I'm sorry.
Okay. Have you ever met the band Slipknot? Have you ever met them?
Yes, I have 4 times.
So have I, right? I stood out during the Pledge of Allegiance tour after 9/11 for 7 hours before everybody else, so that I could get, because it was standing room, so that I could make sure that I was in the front row. Mm-hmm. And we ran into Mick and Jim outside. Of course, we didn't believe that it was them until we saw the tats. I mean, how could you know?
Yeah, because they always have their.
So the guitar that I play on my downtime, I'm using the picks that I got from those guys. Okay. I've got a big bass pick from System, but I don't really use that. But so it was. I saw the Slipknot flag on your.
I have like 5 of them, and I've got posters and shirts and like stuff from. Like, I got old posters from '99 that are still, that have wear and tear on them, but I mean, I keep everything related to them.
Look, somebody gave me this.
Wow.
Number.
That's fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, okay? I'm really sorry. It's just, I'm so passionate that sometimes my passion eludes my reason. So I'm very, very sorry about that, guys. Like, it's... Because, like I said, metal is something that I want to keep pure and honest, and I don't want it to become everything it was never meant to be, and that's kind of what I see happening. Like, there's a certain mindset that goes into creating it, so I think there should be a certain mindset within the listener as well. Okay, so I that may not make sense to a lot of people, or to some people, but it makes sense to me. And I guess it's just because I see how death metal has been bastardized by core bands, and they're like, oh, if we put death metal riffs and breakdowns in our music, you know, we're going to get popular. And it just, the integrity and authenticity is not there anymore in a lot of bands. And it just, I guess I'm just a nostalgist that way. Like, I own Bathory Records, you know, that's one of the best bands in the world. I own all kinds of rare black metal on tape, CD, cassette, and it just, I guess I just don't see the kind of passion in a lot of people that I've got, and I want to. That's the thing. I want to meet maggots that are like as crazy about Slipknot as me. I want to meet people that have the same types of resonance with bands that I've got, so that when we talk about it, we're on the same page, you know. And I really prejudged you guys, and I'm really sorry, but I don't feel good about that at all.
Well, you know, and I'm not gonna compare resumes about who's had the more jacked up upbringing. But what you said was a bit curious to me, as far as like, so I agree. So here's what I agree with you with. I think that music is extremely sacred. I think that you said it's like a conduit between us and the
To
divine.
divinity, yes, it can be, absolutely.
And I agree with that on a bunch of different. We've had some pretty divine experiences listening to quote unquote secular metal
Right.
in the reviews that we've had than we've had in Christian music. And I've
which was surprising to me when it first happened. I was like, what is this?
Right, because Sori didn't grow up with metal at all.
Okay.
Really, any music until I hit a certain age. I didn't have anything, so.
So when we first started the channel, it wasn't like to start a channel and then do all the stuff that we're doing now. I just wanted to do something with her, and I wanted to introduce her to the music that pretty much carried me through high school. Mm-hmm. So like, if I don't know if you saw our very first reaction. Our very first reaction was
to Sick.
Right.
Yeah.
And in that, I talked about how violent music like that actually kept me from doing violent things.
That's right. That's right.
Because
that's absolutely right.
And then I talked about the almost it's almost a pilgrimage to go to a concert, where you get so it was curious to me that you had that perspective of us when that was our very, very first. Did you forget about that video? Did you think I was faking it?
I don't know what I thought, man. I see reaction channels and they get big so fast. So I guess I doubted the sincerity because of the niche that you're in. And I'm like, well, I do reaction videos and I don't get 70,000 views in a month. I mean, but I don't center my channel around one type of content. That's the thing. I do many different types of stuff. So, but my production is very well. I got a green screen. I know how to do really video editing very well. And I mean, I'm putting my heart and soul into this. So I guess I'm kind of just like, well, how the hell did they get 40,000 subscribers? I mean, I'm working my ass off trying to get subs and views. And these guys have done maybe 100 videos. How many videos have you done? Like 100, 200, I think. I don't know the exact number, but I think it's over 100.
It's over 100. I know that too, but
well, I mean,
and I've got over almost 800 videos. Now, the majority of those are craft beer reviews and beer reviews, because that's how I started doing YouTube, was doing beer reviews and stuff. So, but then I started doing metal reviews, and then I was like, okay, well, then my girlfriend suggested doing anxiety and depression recovery because you used to suffer with those conditions. So I have a lot of insight into that and mental health in general. So I started doing those videos, and then I started doing game reviews and movie reviews because I love those two things as well. And then I started talking about consciousness and the laws of attraction and the laws of the universe and stuff, because I'm studying all this material to help my career. But I mean, I do have a lot of faults. I shouldn't prejudge people. I admit that openly. It's something I'm still working on, and it's the part of my personality I'm not proud of. So I'm admitting my mistake to you guys, and I'm saying, hey, I'm sorry, I was a dick. It's something I'm still working on, and it comes from a lot of years of not trusting people and the stuff that I went through with people, and basically seeing the human race as the biggest problem on this planet, which in a lot of ways it is. I mean, we've destroyed more things than we've built, and we have almost no regard for nature as a species, and it's starting to bear its ugly fangs. I mean, I am a huge animal activist. I respect animals to the point where I don't even consume meat. And it's not because I think that if you guys, like, let's say you guys had a farm, you and her, and you raised a cow and it was on its last legs, and you were like, okay, well, instead of letting you suffer, we're going to put you down and then use the meat, use everything. And I'm fine with that. It's the animal industry and the horrors that happen there that it gets so angry that when people say, well, it's the cycle of life, I'm like, no, there's things that go on there that you clearly are not aware of. There's people that work in those places that are basically psychopaths.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I've seen some of the videos and even just driving down the road, when you see the tractor trailer trucks with all the chickens like stuffed in there.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, we have 4 kids, and I pointed that out to my kids. I'm like, look at that. And they're like, what is that? I'm like, there's chickens and they're stacked so deep in there, they can barely move and breathe in there. They're like, why are they putting them in there? And I said, because Americans want to eat so much food that they're trying to grow these things, not let them move much. And I totally agree with you. I actually, I went through I was a vegetarian for 4 years. Yeah. And then I ended up switching from being vegetarian only because I wanted to make it easier. Because when I would go places to people's houses, people always serve you meat. And when I would tell them that I was a vegetarian, they always felt like that I was saying that I was better than them. So it made it harder for conversations with people. So I was like, all right, I'll stop doing this. But I was stopping doing it for other people so I could conversate better with people. But and I was actually weaker physically, but I wasn't doing it making sure there was nuts in there and getting your proteins and stuff like that. I don't think I was doing it very healthily, but I totally agree with you because I can't stand the way that animals are treated. And some of the videos, when you watch them, it will blow your freaking mind when you see the way that they will abuse these animals before killing them. It's I always tell Vin, I'm I love when you see Native American stuff or different videos where they'll almost say a prayer before they take the life of the animal. And then it always makes me emotional. And then
go ahead,
thank the animal, for giving its life for them and stuff like that. And I like that instead of this senseless killing that we're just trying to make money or whatever, but it's this exchange that they have. And like you said in one of your videos, using all the stuff, not just pulling, the tusks off, stuff and letting the rest of the body rot. Use it all and be frugal with it and not just killing senselessly,
Yeah, and not only that, the levels of death are on genocidal levels in the animal industry. So and they're breeding them specifically for that reason.
Yeah.
And
every time I get a piece of chicken and it's bruised, I always feel sick. I'm
and if you can I speak now? Are you done?
Yeah,
talking?
I'm sorry.
I don't want to interrupt you either. Again, guys, like I said, I just have so much passion for things that it my emotions sometimes take over. I say things I don't mean. You guys are falling to that category. So I'm sorry. I know I'm being apologetic, but now that I actually have you here and I can talk to you, I realize that I was wrong, and I admit that, and I made a mistake. So I apologize for that. But
and I know you have things to say. I don't. The purpose of this call wasn't to come down on you. I just really wanted to get your perspective and maybe, I'm kind of out of the two of us, I'm kind of the big picture guy, right? So I'm okay, look at our current social climate. You're obviously a very influential person. We've been gifted the gift of influence. So it's if people can watch us talking and come to a mutual understanding, I think we can solve.
I also think we should collaborate. That would be interesting.
I agree.
Our channels collaborated. Now, what I was going to say here. Now, I also talked about serial killers in my last stream that I did, and how we put them in jail, but we legalize death through war if it serves a political agenda or a religious agenda or a resource agenda. That makes no fucking sense. Okay? You can't say one's bad and then be completely hypocritical and say, well, the other's heroic. I've studied criminal psychology for years. 9 times out of 10, a serial killer will not harm an animal. What does that tell you?
Really? I thought that they said that usually serial killers started out by hurting cats.
Some of them do, yes. The ones that have mental developmental problems in early life that don't have all the faculties of reasoning and conscience and stuff, yes. But the ones that become serial killers that are all there upstairs, it's all because of environment, 100%. So when people snap, everybody's all shocked. Why did this person lose it? What kind of life did they live? What were they forced to go through? How did other people treat them? These are all factors that contribute to the psychological breakdown of a person. Mm-hmm. So can you really fucking blame them? I can't. I don't.
Well.
Now, before you talk there, Vin, I'm just going to further this point. Is it wrong to kill an innocent person? Absolutely. But let's say somebody came into your house and wanted to hurt your wife. Are you going to wait for the police to come? Fuck no. They're going to be shot dead on sight. At least I would fucking do that. I don't know about you, but I would. I don't give a shit. If somebody's gonna hurt somebody I love, they're dead. That's it.
Well, I'm
That's it.
a pacifist, so I would put myself in. Let me say it this way, Chris, because I don't want to come up. My ideal as a Jesus follower is that I would not kill the person under any circumstance. So my belief is that the example of Christ is to get in between the assailant and the innocent person and basically rescue the assailant from themselves and obviously rescue the would-be victim from the assailant. So that's my ideal. Now, whether that would actually happen in real life, I don't know. If I had a lethal option and somebody was coming after, I'm obviously very defensive about her, obviously.
Or your son, even. Like, think of that, dude. Like, you got no choice, really. You really don't, because, I mean, that's just the way I work. I don't care. I mean, I don't value human life as much as I value nature. That's the bottom line.
I kind of gathered that from your video.
There's a lot of reasons for that. Okay, number one is the way we treat animals, the way we treat each other, the way nobody seems to care about other people on a large scale. It's ridiculous. And if my perspective is going to shift more, like it has shifted a lot, I'm not as misanthropic as I used to be. Then people got to wake up and start realizing that the only way to change the world is to work together, to unify and to take down the global elites. That's the only way to do it. Making Donald Trump president was the stupidest thing the U.S. has ever done, but it was either him or Hillary Clinton. My point is, politicians can't change anything. If they did, this world would be a much better place. It's all a circus. It's all an act. And the men behind the curtain, they don't want you to know what's back there. And for most people, that curtain gives them that security and that sense of comfort. And they don't want to pull the veil and go, well, that's really how it is. So people don't want to believe that their elected government officials are corrupt or that industries and corporations are corrupt, because those corporations and industries give them their quality of life. So it's really hard. I could see how it would be really hard for a person to be introduced to that concept and to run with that concept and then go, okay, yes, that is true, and I don't want to support that anymore. But I think if people get off their high horse, and I'm guilty of being arrogant at times, we would realize that we don't have to do all this shit for everyone to prosper. There's more than enough in this world for everybody to be abundant. There's no such thing as scarcity. That is an illusion that the central bankers and the global elites have built to keep us divided. War is the most profitable thing in the entire world. The central bankers make more money on war than they do on anything else. And here's another fact that a lot of people might not know. The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers have been funding both sides of every war since Napoleon. So people that believe in militants and, oh, I'm defending my country, it's like, no, man, you're fighting a war that can't be won. And war doesn't solve anything, because all violence does is beget more violence. There is no such thing as peace through war. That is a complete oxymoron and a dichotomy unto itself, and it's paradoxical. So, but how do you change someone's mind like that? How do you change that, guys? I don't have a fucking clue how you change people's minds that are so patriotic and so bent on this system working when it clearly doesn't. It doesn't work. I mean, for everyone. Go ahead.
No, that's why us two dialoguing, and I don't know how much time you had, but I just put forced gender.
That's a great video.
What I want to do is, now that we have you, is actually review the song together.
Yeah.
And then we've already got our shows for tomorrow lined up, but I was hoping Tuesday we could both release it simultaneously. So
sure.
I was hoping we could release a dialogue video tomorrow, which would be Monday, and then the forced gender assignment video the next day.
Reassignment, bro. Reassignment,
my bad.
No. Before you do this, though, I want to let you know why Cattle Decapitation are one of my favorite bands in the world. Those guys are vegans, okay? Now, I think a couple of them, like the original lineup was all vegan, vegetarian. 3 of the 4 of them still are, but their newest album titled The Anthropocene Extinction. That is genius for so many reasons on so many levels. The Anthropocene era should never have happened, in my opinion, and the stuff that they explore in their music, the way they challenge the human condition and the stuff they sing about, it's how I feel. I'm like, I want people to go through what animals go through, so that they wake up and go, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe there's a better way. Maybe there's a better way of life. And I know they're extreme about it, but sometimes extremes are the only way to wake people up, unfortunately. And I know a lot of people might not see Cattle as a really influential band in that context, but I do. And I know a lot of other Cattle listeners that think their music is extremely powerful, much like Slipknot's message is extremely powerful. I think Cattle's one of those bands that carries a very provocative, thought-provoking message that if a people studied it in depth and understood like what it's all about, that they would see that they make a lot of good fucking things, you know. So.
Is there an official video for that song?
Yes, there is. You might
I'm
not be able to find it on YouTube, because you know how PC YouTube is, so they might have taken it down because it's extremely graphic.
I see.
You should, let me just see if I can find it, and then I'll link it to you in the chat.
Yep.
I'm gonna check YouTube, and then I'm gonna check Daily Motion.
I think I found it. Is there apples in the video?
Apples?
Here, let me show you something, and let me know if I'm looking at the right thing here.
Sweet.
Is that it?
That's that's your disposal. That's not the same song.
That's why.
It's okay. I'll find it, brother.
There are the apples.
Yeah, that's a great video. That's a really great video too.
Okay, so find me that video. So
I right here I found. Oh no, that's a trailer. Then there's a bunch of reactions. I think people's reactions to it are priceless. They're like, "Oh my god, that's so disgusting." I'm like, "Well, that's kind of the point. Why are you watching it then?"
I may say that.
No, it's okay. I honestly hope your wife can handle it, man.
So they've got, this is the official band site on YouTube, but they don't have the actual.
I'm looking for it, man. Don't worry, I'll find it.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I might have to go to Daily Motion. Actually, you should be able to just search for it on Google, and Daily Motion or Vimeo should come up with it, I believe.
Okay. While I'm looking for that,
What's up, man?
I think, is it right here?
I found it.
Okay.
I'll give you a link.
Okay. This, is it a YouTube link?
There you go. Yep. So I guess we just didn't look hard enough, but it's right there.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know there was that chat thing on the side.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, there it is.
Say it, you fucking bitch! Say fuck God! Yeah, see, I love it.
All right, hold on. We haven't. You kind of gave a little bit about what it was about, but I still think we'll.
Yes. Okay, now before you start this, I don't disrespect you guys for believing in Jesus. Okay, that's not what I meant. I don't know how Christian values apply to you guys. I don't know how much of it I mean, and my thing is, as long as you don't push it on other people, as long as you don't preach, as long as you don't, etc., you can believe in whatever the hell you want. This is what I believe. I think when we die, we don't know what happened. I think that we become part of the universal consciousness that created us. whether that's whatever you guys believe or whatever I believe, I just think we don't know until we get there. So I don't see any point in labelizing it or localizing it and saying it's this or it's that. I think we become aliens when we die, because if you look at ancient history and the Egyptians and all the stuff that they've talked about through text and scrolls and everything in the history, and in terms of you know, archaeological digs and stuff, they found evidence of aliens dating way back. Like, so I that's what I think our next stage of evolution is what they are. And they've been watching us for so long that that connection makes sense to me. And I also think we were genetically engineered by them too. That's my theory. I think humans were genetically engineered by them.
So you said as long as you don't preach, couldn't a person say that you were preaching about cruelty to animals in your previous video?
I guess, did I sound preachy to the two of you?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on what the term preachy means. I mean,
I don't have a problem with preachy, so I always feel like people should be able to just say what they feel about a certain subject.
Yeah, for me, it's like, if you feel passionate about something and you feel like it's important, like, for example, like your equation of human beings with animals, right, leads to some pretty important ramifications. So like if I say, okay, Chris believes that there's a sort of animal holocaust happening, right? Then I would say, then you need to be preachy and follow that conviction. Like, you need to let people know from far and wide, and you need to present that information kind of the way you do, because you don't really present it in sort of a moderate way. It's like, hey, you're killing these animals, you're taking part in it, and you suck as a person if you don't consider it. But I get it. If I had that perspective, that's where I'd be going. I like it. That doesn't. I'm not offended by that, but it's like, it's interesting to me. It's like, okay, well, I have a perspective about Jesus that I feel like has also some existential ramifications that I believe the world needs to hear. So like, I'm kind of confused about the whole keep it to yourself, because isn't that the whole point of metal, is to go against the tide of society? And
yes,
and
absolutely.
Absolutely. Believe no matter what.
Yep, that's right. That's why I do these videos, right? And yes, I mean, I prejudged you guys, but it's like, I was just feeling at the time that you guys were another couple of reaction people that were just doing it because that's what was popular on YouTube, and it just seemed like a cash in to me. So again, I was wrong. So, but the passion for this goes far and beyond the way I can articulate it. And I think that's true with most metalheads, is they can't really explain why they love the music so much. It's just a feeling that you have. It's just a way of thinking. It's a way of being. I mean, so that's the best way I can articulate it, you know. But go ahead.
No, I mean, you know, obviously we believe that in a spiritual world, and I think that there is a spiritual connection that's happening with metal music, and I think that that's, you know, a lot of people don't understand. That's why I wasn't completely, you know, offended when you were saying what you were saying, because I'm like, okay, this guy, I think you're probably more aware than most about how spiritual the music really is. And so to see that cheapened, to see that thing that's sacred cheapened, is garnering that type of response, and I completely understand that. Like, I'm not, you know.
Let me give you a scenario. Let's say your wife was a painter. Maybe she is. Maybe she does paint. And you're at an art exhibit, and she's got all of her work for people to observe and to enjoy and to purchase, right?
Yeah.
I'm equating now. Let's say somebody came up and said, well, how about I add this and this? Let's put this in here instead, and let's put that here, because these are their ideas, right? And their ideas of how to make something different and better. And they go, yeah, I'm going to do this and this. She would be fucking livid.
Rightly so.
That's the correlation I make to what's happening with metal. Because death metal it's fine the way it is. Black metal, fine the way it is. All these core bands are doing is recycling the music and then saying, oh, I'm adding breakdowns or we're adding this, so it's different. No, man, it's not. It's being bastardized. It's being parodized, and it drives me nuts.
So let me ask you a question. So when I was coming, so my first real experience with metal or new metal, whatever people want to call it.
Sure, whatever, it won't matter.
Korn and Woodstock, right?
Korn's awesome. I still respect Korn to this day. I was a huge Korn fan. Go ahead.
Yeah, legendary show, right? Woodstock.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was looking for DMX because I was in the Bronx, New York at the time, and I see Jonathan fucking losing it, right? And I'm like, this is insane. And so that set me on the trajectory to metal. I got introduced to Slipknot, and then like 3 years into it, I got introduced to Metallica, and of course, old Metallica appealed to me a lot more than
of course,
post Black Album, just because of where I was as far as emotionally, spiritually, that type of thing. I was more on the thrash, I'm angry at everything side than whatever. But I always I'd hear about black metal, and I would hear. Now I had a Christian background, but I was like really, really far from God. Wasn't going to church. My mom was sort of like the sort of human sort of incarnation of God for me at the time, and her and I were just not getting along. So I associated that with God. So anyway, I'm going to metal. I'm going to these underground raves and parties and stuff like that, and seeing a lot of crazy shit happen. I mean, you can imagine in Manhattan, teenagers and all that type of craziness. But anyway, I'd hear about black metal, and like that was always the line for me. I'm like, I'm not listening to black metal, which is like all about worshiping the devil. That's what people were telling me, right? So then we started the channel, and we just kind of started it for fun initially, and then like we started getting bombarded with all these subs, right? And people start asking us about the black metal. So we initially did Cradle of Filth, and then found out that wasn't black metal. Then we did
No, they're not.
Then we did Behemoth, and found out that Behemoth was black-skinned metal. It wasn't really black metal. And I think we finally hit pay dirt with Vatane.
Yeah.
And Vatane was finally like, okay, they're true cult. They're a little bit overproduced, somebody said, but you know that passes. And so Mugla, I think is the proper pronounced that poet.
Really?
Is it Mugla? I always say Migla.
I said Migla too, but we get corrected all the time in comments, which is fine because we don't
know, right?
Yeah, don't know. Yes. So I really, really love them. But so anyway, the reason that I said, all right, let's listen to black metal is because I wanted to understand what was really going on, because I generally kind of pride myself in saying, if I want to understand Islam, I'm not going to go to an ex-Muslim or a Christian. I'm going to go to a Muslim.
Right.
Well, if I want to know about black metal, I'm not going to go from second or third hand. I'm going to hear directly from them. What are they actually saying? Mm-hmm. And then it really started with Behemoth, even though technically Behemoth isn't black metal.
Well, they used to be. I've got their album from the Pagan Vastlands, and they used to be black metal, like pure black metal, pagan black metal, and they changed their style.
What is it? What is the difference if they were black and then now they're not black? Like, what did they change that made it so that they're not black anymore?
The sound, the aesthetics. They're not wearing the corpse paint anymore, and the production is better. You just got to listen to the Pagan Vastlands and then listen to now, and you'll be able to tell the difference immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't some of this like aesthetically like? We're not going to go overboard with production. As a matter of fact, we're going to go in the opposite direction with production.
That was the point, because at the time when black metal was in its infancy, it was a stance against metal becoming popular and metal becoming and the Norwegian scene, the Black Circle was a group of people created by Euronymous, who was at the time. He wasn't real like the rest of them, but he was like supposed to be the godfather of this, and he was the one that founded Mayhem. And
Euronymous is the dude that got stabbed, right?
Yeah, by Varg.
Varg, that's the one that got stabbed 23 times.
But the reasons that Varg killed him are because Euronymous wanted to kill Varg. It was in self-defense. And a lot of people don't know that. But if you go and watch Varg's channel, Thulian Perspective, which is a great channel, by the way, you will learn the truth about the feud between him and Euronymous, for sure.
Well, there's that documentary, Until the Light Takes Us.
Yeah, that's a great doco.
Excellent doco. But see, what happened was, so we listened to Behemoth, and then people start saying, okay, if you really want to know, if you're really interested, check out this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched a documentary. Then there was a documentary on, I want to say Gaul from Gorgoroth. That Vice.
Yeah, it was true Norwegian black metal from Vice. They did it. Yeah.
They were just following dude around, and
yeah,
that was like a month before we even listened to his.
That's the one where the guy lives up in the mountain area.
The mountains, yeah, in Espedal.
Crucified and all that.
Yeah.
And did that one.
Yeah.
So my point was, I was like, okay, I wanted to understand these folks, and so there was some historical context that I got, particularly from Varg when he was talking about, yeah, we were burning churches, but you guys were, Christians came in, invaded lands,
Romans, yeah,
destroyed pagan temples. You built churches on top of it. So he's like, look, we're 1800 years late, but fuck you, basically.
Yeah.
And I understand. I mean, obviously, I don't co-sign burning churches, right? But I understood it because you got to understand. Like, I remember
according to human nature, it makes sense why they were doing that.
I remember when the church burnings were happening.
1991.
Oh yeah.
1992 was the first year it happened. Yeah.
I remember when that was happening, and because our tradition, there was like the end of the world is coming every 2 seconds, right? So it's like, here is an evidence that the world is ending. You got these crazy Norwegian kids setting churches on fire and all this shit, right?
I didn't know about it till you started telling me that it happened. And literally until this very moment, even though we saw that documentary, I was still thinking that it happened a very long time ago.
Yeah.
Like not back in 91. It kind of sounds like Viking shit.
Well, a lot of it was to do with us taking revenge. I mean, I'm Norwegian myself, so it had to do with us taking revenge against Christianity because of what they did to our people and the way they would kill our children right in front of us if we wouldn't baptize them as Christians.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So
drown them or something?
Well, during the Crusades, if the Jews refused to be baptized, they drowned them.
That's messed up.
It was sort of like whatever.
That's crazy.
I'm sure we did a bunch of evil shit.
I wonder what they use for, like, usually people do something, when they do something evil, they usually try to use a verse to back up their behavior. Like, I wonder what they use.
Well, the Catholics, in regard to the Jews specifically, the big thing was the Jews killed Jesus, right?
Yeah.
So like, this is God's vengeance on the, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, the Old Testament jihad passages, I'm sure, were used against the Vikings. But so I remember, because I didn't have the, I had an awareness about our relationship to Muslims. I had an awareness about Christian history's relationship to Jews. I didn't have a very good awareness about what was happening in, Europe and Scandinavia and all that.
Right.
So looking at black metal put me on to that type of history, and then it gave me a context for, okay, I see why this is happening. This is not just, these are bad people who worship the devil. I mean, half of these guys.
We were just, going away on our worshipful way, and they just came massacring.
Right, and
it wasn't like that.
And half of these guys are not even theistic. That Satan is sort of a, archetypical figure for rebellion or self-will and making.
Yeah, it's has to do with the self. And LaVey, I used to be a LaVeyan Satanist, but I'm not anymore. I do agree with a lot of his points and his philosophy. But I don't believe in being selfish. And I don't believe that I should put myself in front of anybody else, provided that the person in question is not a psychic vampire and trying to take from me and make me feel bad for the misfortunes over and over and over. I mean, we all know how psychic vampires work. They want everyone to feel sorry for them. They want everybody to coddle them and cater to them instead of doing something about their situation themselves, right? So you got to watch out for people like that. I do agree with that as well. But I don't agree that he thinks that you should put only you're the most important and everyone else is secondary, because that's not how the universe works. You can't receive without giving. So that act has to take place first. You must give in order to receive. Yes. So selfishness never works.
Exclusive selfishness.
Yeah, exclusive selfishness.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. So like that's why and of course like Emperor, we've listened to 2 Emperor songs. We've done 3 songs from Ishan. There's another one that he did his solo, but that's not Emperor. That's just him by himself. But so Emperor is different, obviously, than Vatane. Vatane is like, look, we believe in this shit. You know, they believe that there's, you know, real. They're very in tune with the spiritual ramifications of what they're.
Absolutely.
Right. So
I think Vatane is more of a cosmic band. They're not really satanic. Vatane is more centered around cosmic consciousness and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and the darkness of the world and the darkness of the universe.
Yeah, they're part of the chaos. I forgot. There was a chaos temple of misanthropic something or other.
Yeah.
I don't want to butcher the name, but so that's really what it was for me. Was like it kind of led to, let's see what these guys are about. Let's give them a say. Okay, people were saying, okay, watch this documentary. We took the time. We've watched 2 so far. And
There's
then
another one you need to check out called One Man Metal. It's got a documentary featuring Leviathan, Streborg, and Zaster, and those are 3 of my favorite bands. They're all one-man projects, but it's not Satan. It's not satanic. It's more misanthropic, depressive black metal.
Yeah.
And that's really good stuff too. Really worth checking out that stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely check that out for sure. And of course it led us to, you know, Norse sort of history, which
Norse mythology. Yeah.
Now we're watching the show Vikings and all that.
That show's fucking amazing, guys. Right on.
No spoilers.
Did you watch it? How far did you get?
I'm on like season 4 now.
Are we?
That's the last one, I think.
I think we're on season. What?
No, don't.
I think we're pretty much right there with you, my man.
Yeah, it's a good show. Great show.
Yeah. So it actually like chain reacted to a lot of, and I remember like watching and saying.
If you had some background on that, you'd be like, yeah.
Well, yeah. If I was like Norwegian and shit, I'd be like, yeah, these are my people. You corny ass, you know, Catholics over there in France with funny suits and shit.
I kind of think that's where my strong personality comes from. I mean, but you know, Norwegians can be assholes, so I apologize.
Okay, no more apologies.
Yeah.
but yeah. So it just led to a chain reaction of, and I've had that experience multiple times when I talk to Muslims. Yeah. Tell me what you really believe. You know, I've had that. You know, I fell in love with those people. Obviously, I'm in love with the Norwegian sort of Viking shit. You know,
yeah.
I love that, and I love them. I love, you know, even like thinking through their rituals, because that show was aired on the History Channel. My assumption is that the History Channel is going to attempt to have some sort of reenactment of like the culture and time.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The devotion to Odin and the concept that Odin has his son Thor, who is sort of the thunder god, which has a lot of parallels to biblical understanding. And there's a lot of, and that's one of the reasons I actually talk to people directly instead of like, okay, I'm going to read a book about what this group believes instead of talking to those people. But anyway, so, you know, we've enjoyed it. So that's why as Christians, we listen to black metal. Obviously we don't agree with everything, although there's a lot of, I made a comment one time. I forgot who it was. Was it from OTEP? It was somebody. I said, if Jesus was around during all that shit in Norway, he would have burned down the churches too.
Oh yeah, it was the OTEP. She was like, well.
She was like, I don't think that Jesus would burn down the church. I was like, well, we make sure everybody was out.
So you guys interviewed OTEP, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's interesting. I don't mind some of their music, but she's pretty misandric. And not all men are shit, man, and she's got to get that ideology out of her head.
Well, she was nice to me.
Yeah, that's because your wife was sitting next to you, though, bro. Think about that.
I don't know. I heard that from some people, so I was very, very interested to see how the interview is going to go. But she had just gotten into an accident like 15 minutes prior, and like. Yeah, dude, it was.
She still met with us for that interview, and she didn't, she stayed on with us for like what
3 hours.
yeah, hours.
And then after
she's
that,
like, I gotta go because she's like,
she had sound check.
Yeah.
She offered us like VIP stuff and all that, and we had a family member come down. Otherwise, we would have went down there. And
I know. Oh, I was so bummed out. I love her though. I love her like fight.
See, she's kind of like that though, bro.
Yeah.
So that's probably the other reason why is that they can probably telepathically know,
true.
like, if they're speaking to a fellow
man-hater.
fellow man-hater.
Let me ask you something there, Vin, man to man. Our Western society has changed to the point where, and then I don't want to offend your wife because I'm going to be very careful about how I talk about this. Women have more rights nowadays than men do, because if you look at domestic, like let's say there's domestic situations, right? And two people are fighting. The police usually take the side of the female all the time, right? And in court, women have more rights over, if it's a custody battle, they've got more rights. They're looked upon with favoritism. And there's a lot of radical feminism that's almost become matriarchal in nature. And that's terrible, because now, I mean, feminism in itself means equal rights for women. That's what it originally stood for. Of course I support that. I don't think men are superior to women, and I don't think women are superior to men. I think we're equal. I think we have strengths and weaknesses in different areas, yes. But to say that women should be recognized more, like especially in rape cases, men are raped too. Men are raped all the time. They just don't talk about it. And it's because of the societal pressures to be male, the societal pressures where it's like, well, I'm a man and I got raped, so who the fuck's gonna believe me?
Right.
You know, it's almost become stigmatized to the point where the word rape is associated with a male attacking a female, instead of it being a universal term to say, hey, a woman could rape a guy too. And it does happen. It happens all the time. Sexual assault on men happens all the time too. Now, we're less likely to interpret it as such because of man's nature with sex. And, you know, if a woman comes up and grabs our balls in the middle of a bar, we're not going to be running to the security guard. We're going to be going, do you want my phone number? I mean, that's what I would do. That's what I have done.
I would say, unhand me.
Well, I mean, if you weren't married, right? You wouldn't be like, oh, unhand me. You'd be looking at her going, oh, you know, what's your name?
Step a little closer to the light. Let me see. Okay.
You know, so
if she's pretty, then.
Oh my god.
Otherwise, I'd call the security.
Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, look, I think that there is, and you know, I mean, if we really wanted to be provocative, there's a racial element to that too, right? Where it's like, oh, you don't like Obama, you're a racist.
Yeah.
Okay, it might be he just doesn't like leftist policy. Might be that.
Exactly.
So yeah, you know, there's a ton of pendulum swinging in our country, and you know, it's a risky thing to do, but you know, I talk about, you know, political climates if the song relates to it. You know, we just did that Mudvayne song last week, and I just went on like a...
Which one was that?
It was Prod, I think.
Okay, because I'm into their earlier stuff, like from LD50, which is a really good album.
Yeah, Prod was on LD50. And,
okay, yeah, you'd be right then.
And I just went off for 5 minutes about political climate and, you know, leftists. You know,
is that the one where I was like...
Yeah, where I lost my mind and...
What is this going to be like?
Well, yeah, it's just that we're overreacting to everything, and we're not sitting down and
that's the problem. We become so PC and bubbled, and nobody can say shit anymore. My channel, the opposite of that, and that's why I'm trying to get patrons, because I don't want to have to enable YouTube's monetization garbage. Because if you do that, they can demonetize you for anything the advertisers deem unadvertiser friendly. They can switch your monetization off in a heartbeat. So you don't really have creative control when you're monetized.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons, you know, you'll see a lot of reaction channels, they'll pause the song in the middle of the song because you get copyright strikes happen. So all our stuff, pretty much all of it gets copyrighted.
And you know what? That's fine.
We listen straight through because we don't want to pause it.
No. But the way the algorithms work now is okay, I'm about to upload a reaction review to Dark Fortress, the Chrysalis. And even before the video is published, if you're using copyrighted content, the algorithm picks it up like that. So it doesn't matter if you pause anymore or not. It knows automatically if there's copyrighted content in your video.
Yeah. So we've always had like complete creative control, just because.
And I think that's good that you guys aren't selling out to YouTube like that.
Yeah, we're not gonna make any money on it. So I mean, we already know that.
Yeah.
So it's like we just
can with Patreon though. If you get enough patrons, you can, and that's what I'm doing too. So
yeah. I mean, that's the alternative, right? And that's kind of the exchange we've kind of made with our audience. Is like, look, we're not going to pause it. Mm-hmm. Give $1 a month, please. You know what I mean? Like, and plus we go for about a half an hour, 45 minutes a pop, because it'll remind us of something or whatever. But if you don't have anything else to say on that topic, let's do some forced gender reassignment.
One thing I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna delete the original stream about you guys, because I watched it again and I realized that I don't want to be taken the wrong way by your audience or my own. So I think I'm just gonna leave the follow-up stream in where I address a few of the comments and stuff, and then I'm gonna air this. But I really don't know if that stream's necessary now, because then if people see us talking like this and then they go back to that and they're gonna be like, well, what the fuck do you really think?
Well, I think that it. I mean, obviously, it's your content. It's up to you. For me, it's like, I don't want to have me calling your wife a bitch on my YouTube channel. Well, that's true. I don't want that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so. I think if we leave the second one up there, it's
just a reaction to the comments, right? Yeah. And then we air this one, then they're gonna see, okay,
we realized
he fucked up and he deleted the original video. So yeah, I'm gonna do that right now.
Well, I hope people see more than that, because it's like, I don't disagree with everything that you said, and I also don't think that one of the phrases that I use all through my life is that the best thing about a person is usually the worst thing about a person, right? And so it's like, being a passionate person who's passionate about music, I think, is actually one of the best things about you. It's just a matter of channeling the passion and knowing when to go full bore and when to pull back and think a little bit. So like, I hope people would look at it and go, okay.
Let's look at it this way. It's got 184 views, 42 comments, 3 likes, 10 dislikes. So
yeah.
And of course I talked about a lot of other things on it. The stuff about you guys was like maybe 15 minutes. And then I went on to talk about all the other stuff that I think about, right? So, I mean, maybe I'm just going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that I'm very judgmental. I'm trying to get that out of my personality. I'm trying to condition myself not to be that way, because doing personal development so I can develop the consciousness to attract the success I want does not involve that kind of behavior. And I guess that's why I've been saying I'm sorry so much, because I'm catching myself on these things and I'm like, no, I can't be this way. I don't know who these fucking people are. How do I know what they've been through? How do I know who they are? I don't know anything about them. So I realized my mistake, so I just took the stream down for you guys too.
Yeah, but how, don't you think that by leaving it up, then people can see the progression, and then they can see like, and then, we all talked it out and stuff, like...
Well, they're going to see these 2 videos, like the reaction to the comments, and then they're going to see this.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah.
So it'll still accomplish that.
It'll still accomplish that,
for sure.
All right.
For sure.
I don't want to leave that on the air that I insulted your wife. I feel really bad about that. So
no, yeah. Yeah, and yeah.
But if he talked about a bunch of other things, you said you're a badass editor, couldn't you just edit that out? And then put the rest
I guess I could have, but I already deleted it, so it's gone.
Oh.
It's a moot point. It's a moot point at this point.
Yeah.
It's not still in your computer?
No, because once you delete it off of YouTube, it doesn't go to a recycle bin. You're deleting it off the servers.
Right. Oh, what did you do, a live?
That's why
I did it live, yeah.
Oh.
It'll say, like, you do realize you're deleting this forever, basically.
Yeah, okay.
So, Chris, do you have scheduled releases?
You know, it depends. I just do videos when I feel like doing them. I try to upload every day. Now, if you want to put this out at the same fucking time, let's do it. I think that would be awesome.
So I'm thinking Tuesday at 7.
Okay.
Eastern. We're on Eastern time. What about you?
I'm on Central time.
Okay, so is that
6 o'clock.
6 for you? Okay, 6 for you, 7 for us. We'll release it simultaneously.
Okay.
So we'll do that.
What is he gonna do? He can just take it off if I put it unlisted up.
Yeah, we're gonna edit it and do all that
if
stuff.
I edit it and then I put it up
him.
on. Oh yeah. Well, how do I do that? You put it up on YouTube and send him the link to it.
We'll
and
just
then
make it unlisted.
And then you can grab it
And
from
you can
our.
Or you can take this recording and use a service called WeTransfer.com. You put your email in, you put my email in, you add the file, provided it's under 2 gigabytes, and you can send it to me through email, and I can just download it right through my email.
Okay. Whichever one's easier, we'll do it.
Do you want to edit it? Is that why?
Do I want to edit it?
Because I'm going to edit it on my end, so I can send it to you all edited. Or I can just send you this whole thing.
What do you guys want to cut out? Maybe we should discuss and edit it together. I think that would be good. If we want to shorten it up or cut parts out, or if we want to add stuff in.
It's going to be the reaction, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Well,
we're releasing the reaction at 7, right?
Well, there's 2. We're going to end up with 2 videos. One's going to be our dialogue video, which was everything up to here, and then the reaction to forced gender reassignment.
Yeah.
That we're doing together. I can edit all that for you guys if you want. I'm really good at all that kind of shit. So it's up to you. Either of us can cut it and then split it into 2 videos. I can make the thumbnails if you want. You guys see how I can do thumbnails. So it's totally up to you, man. It's totally up to you guys what you want to do.
You do the thumbnails for sure.
Okay.
And then we'll put it in that thing and split it off, so then he can edit his own and we'll edit ours. Is that what's happening?
Well, yeah, because when she says edit, we're not taking out any of the material. That's why our videos go for 45 minutes.
Okay, so what does she mean by edit?
What we're talking about is like the aesthetics, like we have iMovie, so you can have Western, you can have vignette.
Perfect. He's talking about filters.
Oh, filters. Okay.
Yeah.
Sony Vegas Pro has those too. They've got all kinds of shit I can put in here. Like I can key this out once it's recorded, and I can put whatever I want back here. So I could even have our channel in the back, like both of ours, Vin and Sori and the Underground Metal Elitist react to
nice.
Cattle decapitations, forced gender reassignment, right? So I can do that too.
Let's do that, because they'll never be. Nobody's gonna.
You guys have a black background. You should get green, because then you can key that. As long as you're not wearing green or have anything green on, you can key this completely out, and then you can put whatever you want in the background. But with a black background, the fact that you guys are all wearing black, and his facial hair and stuff and his hair will all get keyed out of the video. So it'll take anything black out of the video.
I'll
be the only thing left in the video.
Well, your shirt will be gone. Your shirt will be gone. Some of your hair where it's darker in places will be eliminated. So
but I'll still have my face right here.
Yeah, you would. You'd have like that, and then this little thing there. Yeah.
Somebody messaged us. They said, you got to send that guy a shirt. We'll send you a shirt if you want one. Just say the word, brother. If you don't want one, that's okay too. Don't worry.
Is it just her on there?
That's it.
No, it says maybe you're sick because of your secrets.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. This is the whole thing.
Okay. Well, if it would be like to help promote each other, I mean, why not? Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could wear it when we're doing our collabs and shit for sure.
Yeah.
I'll totally get one. Sure, send me one. I don't care.
What size?
What size are you?
My Golden State Warriors jersey is an XL because that's how I like my clothes.
When did you become a Golden State Warriors fan? Tell me the truth, Chris.
Oh my God. Back in the 90s. No,
who was your favorite player?
Oh God, you're gonna make me go back and look at the roster from back then. Be the time when they. Oh, fuck, I can't remember. Because I was a huge Bulls fan back then too, and I've always liked the Celtics, right? So.
That was, back in the 90s, that was like Latrell Sprewell at the time.
Okay, I'm looking at 95, 96 roster because that's when I first started watching them. Yeah, Latrell Sprewell was one of my favorites. That's right. Their center, Clifford Rosier, I liked him. Tim Hardaway, that's the guy. Fuck, was he good. Jesus Christ, that guy was good. John Barry was another good player they had.
They had a squad, man. They should have done more. They should have done more. But PJ Carlissimo was he wasn't the guy. He wasn't a good coach, in my opinion.
No, Steve Kerr's the guy that they needed, and they got him, so that's good. You know.
Yeah, Kerr was playing for the Bulls at the time. So
yes, he was. Now let's have this is good because we can talk about basketball a bit here too. LeBron James is not the greatest player in the world.
Who is?
Kevin Durant.
Stop it.
Here it is.
Nice.
Kevin, he said.
You'll have to email us your address.
He said
Kevin Durant.
He said Durant was better than LeBron. Durant is such
Wait, what? Why? Wow.
Durant is such a badass that he went to the team that he couldn't beat. He was down.
Yeah, but LeBron's jumped ship too, so he's no better.
Yeah, well, no. LeBron, the equivalency would be LeBron going to Paul Pierce's Celtics. That would be the equivalency.
I don't know. And now he's gone to the Lakers, where he's never going to win another ring. Never. His ring days are over.
If we get Kawhi, you never know.
You're not going to get Kawhi because Toronto's going to keep him.
Why would
Okay,
he's
if he
free
does, no. After a
year,
he is, yes. But if he does well in Toronto, I could see them keeping him. I could see him re-signing if he plays well with Toronto and he gets along with Lowry and the rest of them. DeMar DeRozan is not happy. None of them are happy with the trade. I get that. But let's talk about Durant for a minute. There's a reason he left OKC. Everybody thinks he wanted to go to Golden State to win a championship. That was part of it. Nobody can play with Russell Westbrook long term. You look at the history of that team, that franchise, when they moved from Seattle.
It's terrible.
So now you look at how long Durant gave that team before he left. 9 years, and they didn't do it. Now, if he had left, let's say, 3 or 4 years after, fine, I could see people's criticism. No, Durant belongs with Golden State. And there's a reason I think he's better than LeBron James. There's actually a lot of reasons. If you look at LeBron James, the way that he has to carry teams, his physical prime is going to expire before Kevin Durant's is. Because Kevin Durant has a lot of players around him that he can work with. And Durant he's won awards that LeBron has never won.
Like what?
And vice versa. I can give you a list. I can go Google a list of achievements of awards that he has that LeBron James doesn't have.
We're actually going to have to turn that off because we're about to do the...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Durant, I think Durant's an all-timer. I just don't think he's on LeBron's level. He's playing with 2, possibly 3 Hall of Famers in their prime.
You mean like this guy right here?
Yeah. I mean, Steph has won a championship without KD. KD has never won without Steph. And that's...
And you know what? I want to talk about Steph Curry a little bit too, because
you're the greatest if that's true.
I am really upset that he's so underrated by all the ESPN analysts and by like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, and also he's been underrated. Like Colin Cowherd, likes him. Steph Curry belongs in second place as the most influential player in NBA history. Teams aren't drafting centers anymore. They're drafting shooters. They're drafting, you look at teams, they're not practicing small ball anymore. Colleges are trying to create shots from deep, and and same with the NBA. It's all because of him, man. All because of him.
I will say, definitely, I think LeBron is the greatest of all time. But as far as like influence on the game, on all levels, like AAU coaches now are teaching these 6-year-old kids to start taking these 30-footers because of Steph. Like it's insane. Because you don't have to be particularly athletic to be good at what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And so that changes everything now. Because Steph, I mean, you put him up against Kyrie, forget it. Kyrie would destroy him one-on-one. The problem is in the system, Steph can get open and hit a 30-footer.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do?
He can get open whenever he wants.
Yeah.
Because of his dribbling and everything.
Yeah, his hand, it's insane.
He
definitely
is
changed the game.
the best three-point shooter in history, and I think they're going to have to move the line back because of him. I mean, that guy can hit anything, man.
If there are like
It's
two or
nuts.
three more Steph Curry type, like if let's say the next generation of ballers comes out and then there's like 9 Steph Currys, they're really gonna say we need to push this back because the game is gonna get so ridiculous that it's gonna be, you know.
I think Michael Jordan is better than LeBron as well. I think Michael Jordan is. I don't know if anyone is going to surpass him. I mean, LeBron's gotten close, but LeBron's now 3-6 in the finals. Jordan's 6-0. He never lost.
Well, Jordan was never able to get past the Pistons.
True.
When they were the Pistons.
True.
You know, like.
But LeBron can't get past Golden State either. He only did it once.
Well, I mean, Jordan has never gone up against anything the likes of Golden State.
Right. Now I want to talk a little bit about the dynamics of the East and the way it used to be, how it was the hardest conference back in the day. Let's face it, the East was the conference to beat when Jordan was playing. But now that LeBron's in the West, we're going to see what he's really made of. Because you kind of look at his role in the East, it was really a cakewalk. I mean, there weren't many teams that could compete with Miami when he was with Miami with Bosh and Dwayne Wade and Mike Miller and everybody else.
Miami had Bosh and D Wade when LeBron left. What happened to him?
Bosh, I don't know where he went. Wade is still there.
No, the next year after LeBron left, they had
they fell. I know they fell apart.
What happened?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I know. Number 23 went back to Cleveland. That's how much they went from going to the finals to being a lottery ticket team because one guy was there or not there.
Yikes.
That's the end of it for me.
Yikes.
What happened when Jordan retired? They made it to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and they got cheated by the referees.
They did. I know.
Okay,
I guess
closed.
It's over.
It's over.
Well, I mean, I respect the hell of LeBron, don't get me wrong, but I think now that he's in the West, we're really going to see how good he really is.
I agree.
Because now he's got to play top-tier teams, man. Now he's got to play these top-tier teams
every day or every other day. He's got to play.
Right.
And listen, Utah's no joke either.
No, and I mean, beating OKC in 6 games, I'm like, what the fuck happened? You have Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, and Westbrook on the same lineup, and you can't beat Utah?
Westbrook, he takes 55 shots a game.
You know what? He needs to drop his ego if that team's ever going to win a championship.
See, I would have had respect for Durant if Durant would have pulled a Kobe. You know what Kobe did? Kobe went into Kupchak's office and said, Shaq or me?
Yep.
Durant should have went to the office and said, Westbrook or me? They would have got a very good piece for Westbrook on a trade, and then
they could have kept Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
look at James Harden. I mean, James Harden left for the same reason. He couldn't play with fucking Westbrook. Nobody likes him. Well, everybody's leaving.
Paul George apparently likes him.
I know. He signed 4-year contract, 137. I know.
What a disaster.
He didn't want to play in LeBron's shadow.
Oh.
Because what was going to happen is if Kawhi gets there, that means he was going to be the third wheel.
Kawhi doesn't want to play with LeBron.
That's what I heard.
Now, think about this, Vin. LeBron's best decision, in my opinion, Philadelphia. You got Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Markelle Fultz, first round pick of 2017. Why the hell didn't he go there?
Markelle Fultz is a train wreck.
He'll get better.
You heard what Coward said.
Yes, I did. I did.
Witness protection.
Oh my gosh.
Or that he was like the Sasquatch. Like you keep hearing about him, but you never see
him talking. I'm like, where is he gonna go with this? And then I never heard the rest.
You know what? We could do sports streams together too. That'd be a lot of fun. Because I love talking about basketball, and I'm a huge fan of the NCAA too. That shit is amazing. So I love college basketball too.
All right.
Like Villanova this year. Good Lord. Did you watch the tournament?
Oh, I saw it.
Fuck. Michigan got all the way. I didn't expect that to happen. But then you look at Loyola, Chicago, that the team that had that none loves, like they got so far this year, and nobody expected that to happen. UMBC is 16 beating a 1, the number 1 team in the country. That's never happened until this year. So yeah, I love March Madness. I told my girlfriend, you either want to watch it or find a hobby, because I'm glued.
Oh my god.
March
She
Madness.
watches it with me, so
Aw, that's good.
It's like the World Cup. It's
Yeah.
like one game elimination.
yeah.
You're in or you're out.
Okay.
So it's and there's always an upset. There's always like a last second buzzer beater where the number like 15 team number. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's
the
the
most
best thing.
frustrating, anxiety-inducing event in sports. Like it's literally madness. Like
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say either watch it or get out of here. You're like, or just get a hobby.
No, I'm very, very good to my girlfriend.
That's good.
I am. She's very important to me, so.
That's good.
All right, so let's do
our
Force
reaction
Center.
up.